our half-hour session on Inspire. And basically, I wanted to start with some few basic facts about Inspire this year in Las Vegas. Sandra, if you can go to the next slide, please. So it is, as you probably know, the annual partner conference that Microsoft does for many, many years now. Started as the Worldwide Partner Conference, now called Inspire. And actually they're combining it with their internal sales and marketing conference that they have as a kickoff for their fiscal year called Ready. So the last day, which was the Wednesday for the partner conference, is then the first day for this internal conference. And so both groups came together to see some of the keynotes, but also some of the celebration of last fiscal year. So on the partner conference itself, more than 10,000 attendees in Las Vegas. So 3 days packed with the presentations, meetings, connections that we have been able to establish with existing, but also new partners across the world. And our objective for being there, we first of all wanted, of course, to align with Microsoft, also making sure that our community, the QBS community, gets into the fiscal year 20 programs, so that you are represented when Microsoft is building programs, channel programs, customer programs, that we have an influence there and that we can integrate you in these campaigns. Of course, we have been educated on strategy, but also product development, the latest go-to-markets that they have. And we want to use that with this call, but also then further down the line with a management summary and other engagements to multiply this knowledge to you, our community, and making sure that we are all on the same page. But as I said, it's also great to see Inspire as a point not only connecting to Microsoft, but also to the other partners that are visiting Inspire and build new business opportunities, not just for us as QBS, but more importantly for you as our community. The team that was at Inspire, we had a couple of us attending there. So Yolanda from Spain joined us, Will from UK, Eddie, who runs Mid-Europe, Nelson, who is our VP for Business Development and ISV and Marketplace, Richard Bross, one of our founders, Chris Parks from UK, who's focusing on the customer engagement partners and workloads. And as you know, part of TIC, we also have a majority share with One Click Factory. And so we work very closely together with One Click Factory. And they also have been sending a team of 3 people to Inspire to engage with Microsoft, making sure that also their services are aligned and can be leveraged by the Microsoft go-to-markets. So that's a bit the facts of the Inspire. Next slide, please. And so if you really want to start at the top level, I would say it was a great conference in terms of the theme that Microsoft built. One theme was around trust, and actually it was the opening that Gabriela Schuster, who is the corporate vice president for partners in the Microsoft organization, she came on stage, and literally the first thing she did was apologized for a change in the internal use rights that Microsoft announced a couple of weeks before, where Microsoft received a lot of feedback from the partner community that this was a cut in benefits that nobody understood, and that was questioning them the commitment that Microsoft had to the partners. Now, that was clearly something that was reflected, and so Gabriela then announced that they are taking out or taking back this decision and revert back to the internal use-wide benefits that partners enjoyed in fiscal year 19, and so these will continue. for the time being. So I think clearly a signal how committed Microsoft is to partners and how much they are willing to listen and to respond also to partners. And then I think the other overlying theme was something that Satya Nadella then announced in his core note as an introduction with these three numbers, 100, 17, and 7, which basically represents 100,000 Microsoft employees that work together with 17,000 partners across the globe to enable 7 billion people on this planet to achieve more. And that's really, I think, making or underscores two main topics. One is that Microsoft really relies on partners, so they don't try to put their mission statement into life by focusing on Microsoft only. They, from the top level, look at the engagement as Microsoft Plus partners, and they really see themselves with this community as a global factor, enabling the entire planet, in this case, the 7 billion people that we have here on this planet, to basically take advantage of IT technology and achieve more. So I think quite a bold statement, but also a reassurance for us as partners to Microsoft how important we are for Microsoft's mission and for Microsoft's future strategy. Next slide, please. And so there was a lot of themes around innovation. I know, Will, you said in many of those sessions that also relate to product innovation. So maybe can you share a bit of high-level themes that you have learned throughout the sessions when it comes to innovation?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you know, if I try and condense it down to bite-sized topics, I mean, there are probably 6 key areas of innovation that Microsoft is focusing on. Number one would be Power Platform, and I know Eddie's going to talk a little bit more about that. But Satya Nadella was very clear in that he believed that over the next few years they would see more than 500 million apps get created on the Power Platform. So Microsoft are investing in not only the technology but also the infrastructure to support that ambition, and it's kind of like a staggering ambition, really. And it's I mean, you know, particularly for all of our GBS community, it's another which says if you're not all over PowerApps today, maybe that's a place you should be spending some time. Then if we look at something more probably close to home for our QBS community is around Dynamics 365, and innovation around Dynamics 365 was all about a lot of it is about leveraging some of the investments Microsoft are making around AI and bringing AI to life within the Dynamics 365 suite of family. So whether that's customer insight, marketing insight, sales insight, you know, these are good examples of what we mean by bringing the AI story to life within Dynamics 365. Saw some great demos around that, and again, you know, pretty excited, particularly when you hear about the ambition and their desire to go spend big in that space. But also we look at some of the accelerators that they're bringing to life, particularly for D365 for sales. So for example, not-for-profit accelerator for D365 for sales, the financial services accelerator that they're also bringing out as well. So these are all really cool things that they're doing. Then if I look at the Microsoft 365 and say the modern workplace, it's all about Teams. Teams is huge for them this year. And again, we saw some great demos around that. But of course, there's also the other areas that we wouldn't be able to go through in Spire without hearing about, such as the continued investment in Azure. They're trying to simplify the management experience of Azure with their Azure Lighthouse solution, which comes out I think this week, as well as them talking about the intelligent edge and having multiple connected endpoints into Azure. They're talking about 50 billion endpoints connected into Azure, with more than 50 data centers opened up in FY20. So that's incredible. And guys, if you haven't had a chance to have a look at the Satya Nadella core note, please do check it out, because it's got a pretty awesome demonstration of what can be done with mixed reality. And actually, we kind of watched Satya Nadella living and breathing inside Minecraft, which kind of gives you some ideas about where Microsoft's investments are going in with the mixed reality piece.
Great, thanks, Will. Yeah, we have typically seen a lot of that innovation, and if we can go to the next slide, as you already mentioned, one of the top themes was the Power Platform, and we have, as QBS, also spent or placed a bet on the Power Platform with our trainings and engagement that we already have. But Eddie, you have been sitting through a lot of these Power Platform sessions, and if you could share the highlights that you have learned, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, Power Platform was basically really everywhere if you saw the sessions in Inspire. And of course, we know Power Platform as the tool which includes Power BI, PowerApps, and Flow, as you can see in the left top corner. But they're placing a very big bet on it now that they have been recognized as leader in low-code programming with the Power Platform. You also see a lot of focus on ISVs, which was not so heavily maybe in the last years, but they really want to use the Power Platform to re-engage more ISVs on the platform of Microsoft. And as Will said, there was a video in the keynote and a demonstration in the keynote about Power Platform capabilities, which is really something you should take a look at to give you a better idea of what is available in the meantime. And if you look at the right top corner, the business model of PowerApps is also going to change in October 2019. I think it's more logical what they are doing now with the models behind it. I'll come back to that in a second. Simplifying the licenses. And then the new things are the PowerApps portals, which will be available. So that enables external users to access your PowerApps in a portal environment, which is a big benefit, I think, versus what we had before. And the AI Builder is one of the elements that is new in the Power Platform, which really accelerates the way you can use AI in your PowerApps. On the right bottom corner, I have put in just one slide because there are quite a few on the new licensing models where you can see that PowerApps are now available in a price per app or a price per user, which is a big benefit, I think, which makes it a lot easier as well to price it for your customers. And there's a separate pricing for Flow, which looks like this as well. And the portal and the AI Builder, how they want to license that. It's changed, but really much more simpler for a customer to understand, I think. And on the left bottom corner, the AI part in PowerApps is really a big benefit that has been added. The demonstration was with object detection, and in the demonstration you could really see how easy it is to make such components available in your Power App. So both on the availability of new elements in the Power Platform and the pricing, I think are big steps forward to present this as one of your additions as you're offering to the customers.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Eddie. And I think if we go to the next slide, so PowerApps, as we said, one of the key themes in terms of also market opportunities that we had. But then, of course, Microsoft also shared how they gonna charge their teams, their field teams around the priorities all up, but then also for business applications. So any surprises there, Yolanda, as you watch those priorities and market opportunities?
Well, I would say that nothing's new, but I would say that I can see much more energy, more focus, and more investment than ever before. And the summary of the priorities are looking for 4 big motions. The first is the modern workplace, and based on how to build up a strong business on Microsoft 365 security and also Teams. I would say that Teams is the key word this in Inspire, and I think that we have to put a lot of focus on this. Business applications is about 2 big points. The first, as usual, is Dynamics 365 based on the Business Central, SaaS, and PowerApps. I would say much more Power Platform, Power Family, much more than PowerApps. Azure Cloud Migration is the third motion, and the last but not least is Analytics and AI. But this is just to try to figure out the guidance that we have to build up regarding the coming future on data and AI. And regarding the specific priorities in the field for this current fiscal year, 3 big bets. The first is it's around new customers, how to get new customers, and in that case, they are looking for 3 big plans. The first is how to migrate the existing install base into cloud. This is the first, and I would say they want to fuel this plan. The second thing is that we have to win the first workload. It's important to get new customers at least by handling the first workloads. And the last and not least, they are looking for new customers from competitors, right? The second lever, it's around existing customers, and they are looking for how to grow with in terms of more users and in terms of usage. And I would say that this is a key word in order to keep in mind for the coming months, because usage is the way that Microsoft wants to handle regarding the performance of the partners, right? So usage, growth users, cross-selling, and once we have the first workload, they are looking for cross-selling, and we need to secure every single renewal. The last and not least, Microsoft is looking for the enhancement of the partner capability. They are going to put a huge amount of investment on training, readiness. This part of in every cross-country, every country is going to put in place a strong readiness and training plan, and they want also to recruit new ISV, big ISVs, and based on a co-sell business relationship model.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Yolanda. So a lot of investments actually are coming, as we see also in the next slide, Sander. And so, Eddie, from your perspective, as you have also been inside or with a partner for quite a while, so how do you respond, or how do you reflect on those investments? What do they mean for a typical partner in our community? Eddie? So you need to unmute yourself. All right, if not, I just take it from my end. So in overall, the investment that Microsoft are doing, one is what Yolanda also referred to, is they are building capability. So they are putting a lot of effort to let partners build the right capability, which means a lot of investments in the training area, so new curriculums, new certificates. They still haven't released a new date for an MPN competency around Business Central, but that is about to come. But they also then invest in channel incentives, so not only did they announce a special incentive for Business Central under CSP. So the standard incentive for CSP is down to 6%, but then if you do Business Central, you get another 5% as a reseller of channel incentive, and you then get an additional incentive for new customers. You get 20% of the annual CSP revenue as an extra incentive if you meet a certain threshold, which is quite achievable in our view. So a lot of investment really targeted to the Dynamics channel and specifically to our channel here. They also are investing in demand generation, and there will be new people that are focused on Dynamics worldwide. They talk about 370 new sellers. So if we go to the next slide, one of the things that we have obviously done is not only listen to those presentations, but all of us had several meetings with Microsoft people from different levels. And I think, Will, you also had some interesting meetings there with the executives. So give us a bit of an update, what you heard about Business Central, the momentum and updates.
Yeah, so a lot of the news around Business Central was really good, right? So the momentum is building. You know, whilst Microsoft don't share very specific customer numbers, you do get. I did come away with a very good impression that actually it's now beginning to exceed expectations in terms of customer growth, particularly in the US and UK. UK being now number 2 worldwide in terms of the number of BC customers, and actually that's thanks to a lot of people. That's thanks to a lot of people in the QBS community. So congrats to that. It's very much a, how would I describe it? Probably steady as she goes with a lot of the development investments in Business Central. This is based on conversations with the likes of Mike Ehrenberg and Cecilia, where they're conscious of the fact that they're now achieving what I would describe as a critical mass, as critical scale on the platform, and they just want to make sure that it's as stable and reliable as possible. If we reflect on some of the commentary from the Microsoft senior leadership team, they really do see Business Central as the way to lever the business applications opportunity within SMB. So almost lead with Business Central and follow up with PowerApps and sales, whether that's Sales Enterprise or Sales Pro. This really does factor into their thinking. Now, one of the really interesting things was when we were having the conversation around the Microsoft co-sell and the way Microsoft sell ERP going forward to the end customer in association with a partner, which is that the guidance will be start with Business Central if there's an ERP conversation, and then let the conversation, if it has to, evolve into a finance and operations conversation. Which, for those of you on this call who've been around the world of NAV for some time, you know that there's always been this natural tension between AX and NAV and finance and operations and Business Central. They're trying to make that distinction really, really clear in guidance to their field, which is really, really cool. Also, and this should be some relief to a lot of you, making it really clear that if a Microsoft person is speaking to an end user and they have a NAV system or a Business Central on-prem system and they're trying to have that cloud conversation, is that they should always pull in the incumbent partner. They recognize that maybe they not have been optimal at that in the past, but they very much having that flag to them. And there's some great things to say about everybody on this call, that the QBS community has made a huge impact, and they're looking for us to make an even bigger impact in FY20. So yeah, I think I came away feeling very pleased with some of the feedback that we got directly from the execs.
Yeah, so do I. Thanks, Will, for that update. I think a lot of clarity that we will see starting in the communication down to the field. So that's great. But also, I mean, obviously, if you're a partner, one of the things you're really interested is okay, what does it mean in terms of discounts and channel incentives and all that? So if you can go to the next slide, please. There has been obviously a lot of feedback, and I know, Nelson, you sat in a lot of these sessions. And so maybe you can educate us a bit what you learned high level about the changes that we should expect this fiscal year.
Yes, thank you, Michael. So the incentives and channel program follow on the move and the focus from the Dynamics 365. As you can see, build on the continuous shift from on-prem to cloud. Having said that, the on-prem to cloud, there was also an announcement around the change of the tier from the DLP prices, the Dynamics List Price. So from the 1st of April, Microsoft will follow the AX motion, meaning that 10% will be decreasing per tier. So the A, B, C, and D tiers in the Dynamics List Price. So be aware of that. But again, it's a logical step from Microsoft to be pushing the partners into the CSP motion. But for all our partners, be aware that there will be a major change from the 1st of April around the DLP price list. BREP will continue as it is, no changes around it, and all the accelerations and also incentives will be around CSP moving forward, and we will come back in more details around our Jammer and our communications, what that will mean for you. So CSP very high on the list, and DLP very low on the list, and a discouraging model moving forward from Microsoft.
Okay.
Next slide, Sander. Now the other, and this is a really major change. Now I know that most of the partners, this will not have an influence, but I think it was quite an important one on the F&O and the customer engagement, that Microsoft is moving completely away from the initial plans which they have, and they are moving into a la carte sales motion. So that means that there will be a new model coming, and as you can see in this slide, a little bit highlighted what a la carte will mean. That will be a two different motion, basic licensing around the F&O and customer engagement. So it means that you will have a basic license per user, and based per user on the role and what they will need, you can add different functionality on top of that. That means that there's no plan where you pay per user a full price, but you can mix and choose those workloads depending on the people. Now it's quite comprehensive, so there is a lot of details behind this, and again we will come with more information as soon as there will be more around that. F&O has already been announced, and the customer engagement will follow. The positive side is that most of the partners which we listened to, they were very positive around this motion. I think the biggest question mark for our partners will be the move from the plan into the a la carte sales motion. And as we all know from the past, these migrations are sometimes quite hard, but we will follow that with big attention, and also trying to anticipate that for our partners engaged with F&O and customer engagement.
Yeah, and I think there's so thanks for that update. But I think there's also been some interesting updates around ISVs, because many of our partners are in that ISV section, meaning they produce IP that they monetize on. So what has been the high level learnings on ISVs and the marketplace, Nelson? Next slide, please.
Yeah. So as you all know, we have AppSource, which still is struggling with monetization. Microsoft announced the marketplace, which a lot of ISVs were very curious to learn what the newest was around marketplace. One of the biggest highlights around marketplace is the co-sell motion, and the fact that all Microsoft sellers will be incentivized in selling ISV solutions. The flip side is this: at this moment, this only applies, of course, to the larger enterprise sales motion and not to the SMB. And the other thing is that in the marketplace today, there's only an Azure play, there's the PowerApps play, Power Platform, and customer engagement. There's no Business Central announcement, no dates. They promised that Business Central will be part of the marketplace, but we still don't have any date around that. But the fact that the sellers, specific for the enterprise motion, will be pushing because they will be earning also commission, we may expect a push from also Microsoft into the partner and into the end customer. So that's going to be an interesting play. Microsoft is really pushing the barriers there. I think it will be a challenging road for some of us, and specific when the Business Central will be added on top of that. The other thing which is very important for partners who are today in the OCP catalog, the OCP catalog will be retired very soon and replaced by one catalog. So unfortunately, there's no migration path. So that was really a downside. So be aware, if you are today on the OCP catalog, you will need to move that to the one catalog, which then will be making you ready for the marketplace. Okay. And that was what I learned from the highlights and impact for partners.
And as you said, I think even though it is not specifically now to Business Central or the SMB, it clearly shows the direction. So that's great. So we have, I think, one question which was coming from Sam to ask, is the understanding correct that in this price change, there's going to be a base price per user, and then you can add additional workload, sometimes at a reduced amount, and that's exactly the idea, that you no longer have the plan, but you start and then you add workloads as you go. We will update information pretty soon as it becomes available, so that we can deliver more details, right, Nelson?
Correct. Yeah, we will follow that, and as soon as we have more than and also publishable, we will do that by our German community and other means of communication. Yeah.
Perfect. So I know we are slightly above time or over time, so sorry for that. But as you can see, a lot of information that has been delivered over those 3 days. Hopefully we're gonna or have been able to give you a high-level view. There also is a question around changes coming to silver and gold competencies. There are changes that are coming, but that is in itself quite a longer topic, I would say.
Yes,
to go to all the details, because actually on Business Central, it's not entirely clear right now. So they discontinue with the old ERP competency and introduce a new one, but the new one is not 100% defined, correct, Nelson?
Yeah.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we need to update you on those details as we go into this new fiscal year of Microsoft. So with that, gonna thank our presenters and the team that was in hot Las Vegas last week, and for listening in. I want to thank you. And again, as Nelson said, we will continue to inform you with our management summary and then Yammer updates that we deliver, and of course other webinars that we will deliver over time. Other than that, for those of you who go on vacation now and summer vacation, please enjoy your vacation. And then for everyone else, have a great and successful rest of the week, and hope to hear you soon. Thank you so much, and thanks, Sander, for organizing and providing the logistics. Thank you.